Hey friends, it's MJ Gordon. Happy New Year! I'm out running errands and I wanted to pop in here and say hi. I wanted to talk to you about how to live life on your terms. When I was 15 years old, I met some really inspiring people who seemed to be very happy, very positive. They seemed to have a lot of options in terms of their time and ability to travel. They didn't seem to be strapped financially. They were very giving and very inspiring when it came to their business goals and ventures. And I began to think, what is the difference between these people who are so far and few in between versus, my parents and the folks that were around me that seem to do this thing that I always hear them stressing about, which is get up, sit in traffic, go to work from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, come home, have laundry, all these things to do. And these people didn't really seem happy. What was the difference? Because I really wanted to know what it was like to live like these people who lived life on their terms. So there are 5 key things that I have learned in the last 13 or however many years this is, I can't count, 17, 18 years of wanting and aspiring to live life on my terms. But before we get to those key things, the first thing that we have to do is identify our goals. The key things are still the same for everyone, but how we approach them and how long it takes or how much effort we have to put in to go about them is going to vary, because if your idea of life on your terms is to work a 9 to 5 job but just live simply out of debt, maybe in the mountains, that's going to be totally different from somebody who wants to jet set every day, or somebody who wants to build a global solution for sustainable energy. There's no right or wrong way to live life on your terms. It just has to be on your terms, and you have to be very clear about what those key elements are. For me, it was just having freedom with my time. It was being around people, but not being strapped financially. I didn't need to be a multi-billionaire. I just wanted to feel like I could take care of myself responsibly. So I was struggling at that time to make car repairs, because if it was just a 60,000 mile regular tune-up and it cost $500, I remember thinking I was so stressed. Where was I going to get this $500? I had no idea how I was going to come up with that money and if I could even afford it. And at that time, I remember clearly projecting these fears of, if I can't fix my car will break down, and then I can't go to work, and then I'm not going to have money. And it was just such a stressful, scary place to be. I also hated my job, and I hated getting into the car and waking up to the alarm every day and sitting in that traffic. And I was surrounded by people at my job that were kind of toxic energy. They complained, they didn't have aspirations, they just wanted to go out and drink all the time. And I just remember feeling like, this is not how I want to live, and I don't want some leveled up adult version of this that I'm experiencing now, because from the sounds of it, that's exactly where I was headed. So I began to sit down and write what my goals were, what key elements were important to me. I knew I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to be my own boss, and even if I had clients that were technically, all my clients are technically my little bosses, because I gotta, do what they say, but I also have terms that I set with my clients. So it becomes more of a collaboration or a partnership rather than somebody just bossing me around. I wanted to be able to set my own terms with my time, my own schedule. That was huge to me. And I didn't want to have a limit or a ceiling to the amount of money that I could make. Those were key elements that I knew would give me the ability to live the life that I wanted to live on my terms. As far as I wanted to take it, I had no idea at that point. When I was 15 years old, I just thought, man, this is the average income. It's around $45,000 a year. If I can make $5,000 a month, that'll be just perfect, more than average. And I just thought that would be awesome. And so I started shooting for that goal. Now, over the last 18 years, it has been a hell of a journey. And for those of you guys that are on this journey of trying to take action, trying to take that responsibility to improve your life, improve yourself so that you can live a more fulfilling and meaningful life, you'll know firsthand just how overwhelming it can be and how many factors have come into play. So there's these 5 key things that I've narrowed it down to. And that first thing that I noticed that was so important and so simple to do was to curate my environment towards my goals, meaning set a fertile soil for my seeds to be planted so that they can grow seamlessly and quickly. And what I mean by this is, if I was hanging out around toxic people, then that would feed my perspective with limiting beliefs and behaviors and patterns that wouldn't serve me towards my goal. If my environment in my house were filled with distracting objects and items, and all of a sudden I am playing an instrument here, or playing video games there, or having to clean up all my clutter and going shopping and then doing this thing back and forth, I wouldn't be able to spend the time working towards my goals, and I would be distracted along the way. I wouldn't have that clarity because these things are pulling at me left and right. So I discovered that living simply, minimally, for what I needed and the things that I enjoyed was the number one thing that was really easy to do and also see results right away. So the external environment in your home, in your friends, the things that you do outside of yourself is a super easy thing to stop and begin to question, is this taking me a step closer towards my goals? Is this adding towards me getting closer to living the life that I want to live on my terms? The second key area that was so important was my money. A lot of people say money doesn't buy happiness. At a certain point, money doesn't buy any happiness. But let me tell you what, if you're cold, starved, and hungry, and you didn't have enough money to buy your needs, you would be severely unhappy. So money indeed does buy happiness. And I believe that money placed in the right way can buy happiness. The caveat in my perspective is that if you're not happy already, money will not create that happiness for you. So money can amplify that happiness, and it can improve your happiness from that very foundational level, but not necessarily fix or solve problems from your perspective or limiting beliefs that are keeping you from being happy. So you have to clarify that thing. And so if you don't have enough financial resources, you can be stressed, you can be unhappy. And it's not just about wishing that stress away. If you're not meeting your mechanical bills for your car and you can't make enough money to pay your electricity, and now your house is freezing cold, that's going to make you severely unhappy. And yes, mind over matter. You can obviously lessen the suffering that you go through by having a positive attitude about it. But really what needs to happen is for this financial issue to be solved. So the second key element is money. And it doesn't mean you have to make a lot of money. There are two ways that I discovered in the beginning before I knew how to make a lot of money. It was frugality. It was about having a budget and being very intentional with my money. It was about refusing to do what everybody does, which is go through the credit card system and going in debt. And ever since I was 15, I've been in and out of debt. I have tried it the normal way, the way that everybody does, screwed myself over so many times, and then had to fix it. And I'm happy for those experiences because they've given me skills and they've really rooted deep down in my own psyche what is important for me to be able to conquer and have control over my money in this whole entire experience. You know, it's just kind of an evolution of training me to be that way. But it's not something I wish upon people. And I really, if I would have known this lesson a long time ago, I would have been so far ahead by now. And it's not about regret, but it's just in hoping that in telling you this, I save you time from making those same mistakes that I did. And if I could go back and talk to myself 18 years ago, I would tell myself the same thing. Don't get in the debt cycle. Don't get caught up with trying to buy excess stuff, keeping up with the Joneses, having the fanciest car, having the fanciest clothes, buying into that idea that sales are worth it, buying into the idea that credit card points are worth it. For some people, they're worth it. For those of us who have a spending bone in our body, for those of us that like things and we see the sparkly things and we're like, ooh, the credit card situation is only detrimental to us. That is how the psychology works. It is why the credit card companies win, and it is why more than half of this country is drowning in debt. So that is key element number 2. is money. The third thing that I ran into on my journey was my health. I had always been healthy, I'd always been active, but I had neglected to truly take care of myself. And I thought that being active and skinny was enough to say that I was a healthy person, until it wasn't enough. Until my adrenals crashed. I was suffering from chronic fatigue for over 10 years, and I had no idea this was happening. It just sort of crept up. I had these limiting physical health beliefs, like I didn't have to get as much sleep as I needed to, like I could just binge eat. As long as I was working out, I was fine. I could binge eat whatever the heck I wanted to. I was consuming tons of sugar. I was stressed out and high-strung about everything because I was just on this mission to create my everyday vacation. But then I didn't allow myself to take rest. I didn't allow myself to stop and breathe. And that is how yoga got into my life, is not because I'm a yogi, type of person. I'm very type A personality, but yoga was a necessary factor that actually worked for me in helping me balance out this high driving energy. So I remember being pregnant and thinking, I don't need to take a nap. I'm not going to slow down just because I'm pregnant. I ended up going into preterm labor contractions. I ended up having to be on bed rest for my third trimester. I ended up having to take lots of naps. And so it was a great lesson to see how, even though money's good, even though my environment's good, I can be severely unhappy if my hormones are imbalanced and my body is off. I was depressed. I was not myself. And I had no idea until my husband was like, hey, what is going on? Like, you noticing like this is kind of getting crazy. And so I had to start looking for answers. So the next key element was my mindset. This is number 4, the key items to building an everyday vacation. Because there was a point in time in the last 18 years where I had the money, I had the environment, and I didn't have the health, but that health also affected my mindset. And I'm sure you could think of a person that that looks like they have it all, but they have the worst mentality in the world. Or a person who doesn't have it all, but has the potential, and yet they have such negative, limiting beliefs. And they have stories about blaming people on the outside and who is responsible for their happiness, or who's responsible for the reason that they can't go out and live life the way that they want, or that they can't get what they need to be happy, or that they are so limited in their own self-doubt and that they can't because they're not able, because they're not worthy enough, because they're not deserving. These mindsets will tie you down to a prison cell. So if that's you, it's totally okay. We all go through these self-doubts, but I want to encourage you to just give it a try. Maybe the next easiest step is, what if I believe in myself? What if I do deserve to live life on my terms? What if people do like me enough? People, give them a chance too, instead of just shutting them out. Give them a chance to see your light shine, to see what you have to offer, what you can do. Put yourself out there, because many folks who, before they die, they have a few regrets, and most of them are the same. And one of the regrets that they had is that they didn't take enough risks, that they didn't put themselves out there. So you don't want to find yourself at the end of your life not ever having even just tried to live life on your terms and wishing that you had. Last but not least, the 5th key element is putting this all together intentionally. You can have all this and it's all good, but there's this place I've seen people get to, myself included, where they reach this plateau and it seems all good, but I'm under the impression, as Tony Robbins preaches, if you're not growing, you're dying. And so it is about taking that to the next level. Once you've sorted yourself out, the biggest, most fulfilling thing you can do is start to contribute. Begin to evolve and develop your life on your terms, and how you're going to take that to the next level for the people in your life, for your community, for others. If you want to make a global impact, if you want to leave a legacy, something like that is really important in order to stay mentally healthy and also to progress and continue that feeling of happiness and meaningfulness. Intentionality is huge, and staying clear and focused on these things are huge. And knowing your goals and your reasons for wanting to live life on your terms is the first foundational step to doing those things. And then it's all a breeze from there. It is about the journey, not the destination. And we've heard that so many times, but it is this journey really that refines you as a person, and that begins to build you and allow you to be the person that can achieve these things, the person that feels deserving of these things. And that is you. So thank you so much for taking the time to be here to watch this video. I hope it's helpful. I hope my comments are back. If they're not, reach out to me on social media. Feel free to shoot me a DM with your questions and comments. Make sure you give a thumbs up to this video if you like this content. Subscribe for more and turn on your bell notifications too. I'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoy your week. Ciao.